Good morning, I'm Maria from the Richardson Simple Living. Today is Friday, so we're here for another vlog. I thought we'd just have a chatty vlog today because a catch up really, bits and pieces that have been happening throughout the week. And what I wanted to show you as well, we were talking about genealogy, wasn't we? That Sean's going to do genealogy with schooling. Now she's finished doing the Vikings, and I've been waiting for this book to arrive. My daughter-in-law showed it me. She said it was really good, so I ordered one for Sean, and she said it perhaps would be good for her work, and it is very good. So this is what we got. Family history record book. It goes back for 8 generations, and although my research is I've got some generations much further back than 8, there is a follow-on book that does do an extra 2 generations, so when we filled this we can always purchase that one. It wasn't very expensive. It's a nice thick size book, which it'd have to be for all the generations, but I think it was £6.99 from Amazon. So if you do family researches yourself, it's quite a good book and good price. So I thought I'll just give you a show what it's like. It's basically the same in most pages, but let's have a look. So you start there like at yourself, and then your father and mother, and your father's father and mother's father and mother, and it goes on the same to theirs, which would be your great grandparents, and it goes on again to great grandparents of all of them. So you can see how tightly packed it's getting there. And it does a few pages like that. I don't think it gets any more packed than that. So yeah, it goes on. So it gives you a fair few pages like this. So obviously you can cover everybody, because you can imagine as you get to every parent, they've got 2, and then it goes to 4 and to 8. So, you know, it's doubling all the time sort of thing. But yeah, then it starts when you get to the end of your 8 generations. I should have perhaps put this down, but it then goes on to sections A. You can see at the top it says father, and underneath mother, and you've got room then for all the details about them. And it does the same with your paternal grandfather and paternal grandmother. Go over, and it's your maternal grandfather and grandmother. Then it goes to the great grandfather on the father's side, and it's got a bit where it says the spouse of, and so it goes on like that. So it tells you at the top, so you know what you're doing and where you're putting everything. So it's really good, very well laid out, and it goes like that all the way through. Basically, it's just the same no matter how far back you go. It's got 4 times grandfather on father's side. So what we're hoping to do is do a bit of it each week. Last week Sean started to write about herself, but she did it on a tablet. We're going to print that off because she's writing as well about who's reigning and things like that during that time. We'll carry on doing information as well. We may get someone here because it has got sort of areas to write. I mean, it's got your main things up here, birth, baptisms, and it's got some areas there to write, but dates for things as well. So maybe she could fit rulers and things in there, because obviously the further back you go, you don't know as much information, so therefore you're not filling them spaces up as much, other than like marriages and things like that. So it's got room for birth, baptism. At the bottom it says death, burial, but then it's got gaps in between. So I suppose if you're looking at censuses, you'd write down the year, and sort of you can it's got the source, so you'd put census, and you could put where they were living and what occupations they were doing. But we should probably write extra notes if we need to do that, need extra space. Certainly at the beginning you would, but like I say, further back you perhaps wouldn't know so much. So we'll perhaps write notes, and she'll use a folder. I've got an empty folder, and we're going to print things off. So she's going to do it on a tablet and then print it off, because it's easier to fit more information on, and she prefers typing it to writing it. So yeah, we can get more on if we're printing it than what we could if handwriting it. So, and also we've got a folder, so if we've got photos, we can photocopy them and print them off and put them into a folder as well. So she's building up a folder with pictures, maybe maps, places, and extra information. So she'll just have to write at the top who it refers to, and then she can refer back to the book who they are and where they are on the tree then. So I thought that was quite good. There's a bit at the back as well. I think it was at the back. I've seen it, maybe not. There are some blank pages actually at the back. There's a few blank pages, so you could write extra information in there as well. A cousin relationship calculator. Now I'm quite easy to do that in my head. I can think of families and do it easily in my head. That looked a bit complicated to me. So I don't know whether we'll fathom that bit out, but I find it easier to do in my head once I know who's who, and then just come down and I know who they are to you, sort of thing. But that looks a bit complicated how that's written out, but maybe it'll make more sense once the book's filled in. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing with Sean's genealogy, and we're going to do that today. We seem to have got a lot today. She's behind you at the moment doing English, and she's got maths to do. She needs me to help her a bit on that. I've got reading to do and the genealogy, but we've also got to go shopping and time is ticking on. So I don't know whether we'll do the genealogy perhaps when we come back, maybe. She did that last week, to do it when we come back. So that's what we're doing for that. Put that to one side. My table's quite cluttered today. It's full of everything. So yeah, we'll show you more about that as we go along, and how we're filling it in, especially once we get a couple of generations down and see how it's all panning out then, and we'll show you how it's all working and whether we still think it's as good, but it certainly looks good and looks easy enough to understand, because I like family trees. I mean, I do have it on like an ancestry site, but I like to see it written down. There's nothing nicer than just opening something and seeing it there, and you can sort of work it out better when you look there at it rather than trying to search for so-and-so and scrolling through things. It's just much better. I was given last Easter a chart, and I've not filled it in yet, and I must fill it in, and you sort of roll it out and put everybody in. I must do that. Perhaps actually I could do that alongside with Sean doing this and fill it in bit by bit each week. But we'll let you know how that goes anyway, because if any of you are interested in researching your family tree, you know, you can see how it's all working out and whether you think that's a good book for you and whatnot. So yeah, we've had good and, well, so it's bad news, sad news, good and sad news for this week. Sad news, we'll start with the sad one first. We lost the rabbit, and Smokey died, and I was only showing it you, was it last week or the week before? I was showing him to you, and he was really old, and so old his fur had started coming off and it changed colour. It was really old. We didn't know how old he was, but he's been here a few years, and my daughter had him at her house prior to that for a good few years, and she'd had him off somebody else who'd had him for a few years, but nobody knew how old he was. But you could see he was really old, and a few times Lisa's been saying, oh, I think that Smokey's going to die, he's not going to last, and he kept going, but he died. I'm not sure, what day did he die, Sean? The day before yesterday, was it? Wasn't yesterday, was it?
Let me check.
It was, I'm not sure. Was it Tuesday? Tuesday, yeah. So he died on Tuesday. We lost him Tuesday. Yeah, I went up to the workshop because we've got a freezer in there, and I was going up there to the freezer, and I always check on the animals as I'm passing them, the ones I'm passing. And then I went to look and thought, oh, he's lying a bit still, and then I suddenly thought, he's dead. I called him, but you could see he was dead. So, yeah, sadly we lost the rabbit. So I don't know now whether we'll get any more or whatnot. We have been talking about replacing him and things like that, but we'll see. If we do, we'll tell you all about it and what we've been thinking about. The good news this week, Monday, we had a new addition to the family. We've got a new granddaughter. She was born early hours Monday morning after a very long weekend of labour. So my daughter-in-law, she's not my daughter-in-law, she's my son's partner. She got induced Friday, but the baby didn't arrive till Monday for all sorts of complications, things, but I won't go into that because that's their, personal thing, and, well, I don't know if they care whether I talk about it or not, but without me mentioning it to them first, I wouldn't speak about it. But yeah, she was born anyway Monday. She's nice and healthy. She's an 8 pounds something, I can't remember what. 8.13 was it, I think. Was she?
She was in the 7s.
Was she 7s?
I thought she was.
Oh yes, 7s. They thought she was going to be 8. Yeah, 7. No, she wasn't 7. She was. She might have been 7.13. Anyway.
I know she was in the 7s.
She's somewhere between 7 and 8. Something like that. It's been a long week. But yeah, she's a lovely, healthy little girl. We're going to go and see her later on. Yeah, we haven't seen her yet. So Lisa's off, so she's going to come and see her as well. Because I don't like to rush in straight away when people first come out of hospital, because that's when you get all the visitors and you get overwhelmed. I'd rather go on a quieter day. But because Lisa's off, we can go together and, rather than keep them backwards and forwards, because it's nice to give them time to themselves to adjust. So yeah, her name is Summer, so she'll be our little sunshine. So yeah, we're going to go and see her. So that's good news. She's our grandchild number 6, but it's not the last of them, because my son, who's the father of this one, his twin brother, his partner is having a baby in July, so we've got another one to come yet. So, but that will be a summertime baby. So yes, so we've just had a granddaughter, that's number 6. So we've got 3 of each at the moment. I was thrilled when I knew she was going to be a girl. I said, oh great, we've got 3 of each. And then my other son come along and said his partner was expecting. I said, better be twins with 1 of each, otherwise we're going to have an uneven number. But it's not twins. We've just got the 1, but we don't know what it is yet. They're having a gender reveal in, I think it's just slightly over 2 weeks' time, so we'll find out then what it is. We're all thinking boy, but we'll see. So yeah, that'll be my 7th one if all goes well there. But right now we've just had number 6. So yeah, it's been a busy sort of a week really, with births and deaths with the poor rabbit. So yeah, I don't think we've got anything else to say this week, have we? The week's gone fast. Do you not think the week's gone really fast? It's just flown by. So yeah, I can't think of nothing else that we're going to say. I'm hoping shortly to start doing a few more homesteading style videos. I'm not leaving homeschooling. I'll still give you updates on homeschooling as well, what Sean's doing, and if we're introducing something new or something has finished and we've done with that, what we're replacing it with. And I'll keep you updated as well on the genealogy, how that one is going, how that pans out, because you might be interested in doing it yourselves. It's very addictive. Well, once you start, you can't stop. It's terrible. So yeah, certainly not getting rid of homeschooling videos. We will put homeschooling in, but I do want to do more homesteading. It's a bit quiet out there at the moment. It's that time of the year, and I have vowed to myself I'm not going to plant no seeds until April, and we do need to finish the boxes. We've got to try and get some more wood. We've run out of wood, so we do need to finish these raised beds. Got to see if I get some pallets or anything. I like to use second-hand recycled stuff. I don't want to go and buy new just to go out there. I want to use recycled, and I don't want to pay too much money as well, because it sort of defeats the object of sustaining yourself, you know. I want to not spend much and need to recycle things and keep things as cheap as possible and everything as reusable as possible as well. So yeah, Dean's outside at the moment. He's feeding the animals this morning, all of them going around the lot. So yeah, there's not a lot to show you at the moment. I've got some ideas as well for the homestead throughout the summer. I will bring them to you as, you know, we come to doing them and what we're doing. So I do want to do some more homesteading videos though. That's my passion and I can't wait to do them. And it's not just homesteading, isn't just out in the garden growing some vegetables and feeding your animals and looking after them. I mean, homesteading's a lot more than that. It's like a self-sustained way of life. It's repairing things and doing things. I mean, for an example, this week actually, there was another disaster. It was weekend, I think it was, it happened. I went in the kitchen, there was water on the floor. And I thought, oh, somebody's either not shut the dishwasher door properly when it's had water in, or they've opened it with water in, or splashed from the sink. But anyway, as I trod it, it was squelchy and oozing out. I thought, that's not just spilt water, that's coming from somewhere. So I tell Dean drags out the dishwasher, and there was a leak on one of the joins, and it was drip, drip, drip. And I think, oh no, because we've got the wooden floorboards underneath. I thought, I don't want them rotting. I always think the worst case scenario, the rot will go through. So, no, he said it was just the join. So we went out to B&Q, which if you don't live in Britain, it's like a hardware store where you get everything from. So we went out to B&Q and bought some joins and come back. Dean fitted them on. They had trouble turning the water mains off to start with, but they managed to do that. Switched it on, switched them over, put the new one on, put the water on. 5 minutes later, drip, drip, drip from the same one. So he had to redo it again. I don't know what he did, but he redid it all again, dried it all off, and switched it all back on, and it was fine that time. It was okay, and it's been okay ever since. But after that event, because he switched the water off, about an hour after he switched it back on, suddenly Lisa looked out the top window and she goes, the overflow's running, and all the water was coming, spewing out of the overflow down below. I was like, oh no, got to go into the loft because the cold water tank's up in the loft. So out he goes up to the workshop to get some ladders. Back in he comes up to the loft. Bearing in mind he's got arthritis in his knee, so he hobbles anyway. So in the loft he goes to alter the ball cock in there because it had sunk with emptying the water. It had sunk and it obviously hadn't risen. So as the water was filling, it just seemed to be stuck. So the overflow was coming out. Anyway, he did that, fixed that, sorted that, and went all the way back up the garden, put the ladders back in the workshop. The next morning, the overflow was going all out again. Oh no. So back up he goes to get the ladders, back up into the loft, and it had stuck something, it hadn't come quite to the top. So he had to alter a pin in it, put another pin or something in it, in the ball cock, and sort it out. So then it stopped. So hopefully it's all done now. It's been most of the week now, and it's been okay. It's not overflowed again, and the floor is still dry. So hopefully everything's sorted. But you see, when you talk about homesteading, they're the sort of things as well where you do jobs, because normally you'd perhaps just ring up a plumber and it costs you a good few £100 to get all that sorted. It cost you before they even got here, in fact, for calling them out probably. And then your parts, because they'd add extra on, and then all the labour. And it costs you a few £100. Well, if you're homesteading, it's all about being sort of self-sufficient and sustaining yourself and that. And that's part of it. Things that go wrong in the house. So we've saved hundreds of pounds by going out and buying what we needed. I think a couple of pounds the adapters were, and it come in a pack with some more as well, so he's got spare now should another one go, or you know, hopefully that one's okay. But just in case you've got spare, it's always handy to have spare things. They're Dean's words, actually. He always says that to me. It's always handy to have spare. So then when he goes to look for them, he can never find them. But yeah, so it's all about things like that as well. Things that go wrong around your home, and repairing other things like your clothes. I mean, I washed my socks the other day. Oh, my socks got holes in. And someone said, oh, chuck them in the bin then, get some more. Chuck them in the bin. It's only along the seam. I'll sew them. So I sew them if it's along the seam. You know, it's perfectly good socks. Not buy new ones. But it's all little things like that. It's all that kind of thing. Not just going out doing your garden to feed yourself and, you know, tending animals for your needs there. It's about everything else that comes with it. Maintaining your home and reusing things, you know, that normally you'd perhaps throw away. So it's all about that. So I want to do some more homesteading videos, and obviously I'm not deserting homeschooling. We're still doing homeschooling as well. And Sean's having a chuckle behind me. I don't know what she's reading. Shakespeare. I didn't think he was into Shakespeare. There's a turn up for the books. But yeah, so that's it for today. That's our eventful week, and I don't know what your week's been like. I hope it's not been as eventful as mine. I hope it's been quiet and peaceful. But yeah, so we'll see you now on Tuesday. We'll bring another video on Tuesday. Don't know what yet. I don't know whether we'll have something homesteady or whether something homeschool wise, or whether something will happen over the weekend, and I'll come on to have a chat about it. Who knows what the weekend brings, eh? We don't know from one day to the next. So yeah, so on that note, all of you have a really good and a happy weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Take care. Bye.